Measure 1634 prevents taxes on groceries that'll help people afford food. In this economy, I should definitely vote yes on that. You would think, but no.
I dig down deep, 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 deep.
I'm Josie Pettibone, and you're watching Dig Deep, the show where we dive into a complicated topic and make it easier to understand. For the 2018 election, I'll be breaking down ballot measures in Oregon and Washington, because there's some important stuff in there. I basically just summarized Ballotpedia, a nonpartisan, fact-gathering site that talks about how measures got on the ballot, who's funding them, and both pro and con arguments. I also share how I vote, but I always explain why, and at the end of the day, you can vote however you want. I just want you to know what you're voting for. Measure 1634 is a ban on a grocery tax in Washington state. The idea is that it would help people afford groceries. This seems like a pretty good idea, except that Washington state already prohibits taxing groceries. So why are we voting on it? 1634 redefines groceries to include all raw or processed beverages, and that includes soda. In the last couple of elections, cities across the country have started trying to tax soda and sugary beverages, and big beverage companies like Pepsi and Coca-Cola hate it. In fact, Oakland, California recently passed a 1-cent soda tax. During that election, Pepsi and Coke spent so much money trying to get people to vote against it, they could have given every citizen of Oakland $14 cold, hard cash. Well, don't you look stupid? Can I buy your intelligence for $14? Don't mind if I do. And the tax still passed. Measure 1634 would take away our ability to tax sugary beverages in the future, but we're not deciding whether we're going to tax them today, and we're definitely not deciding if we're going to tax groceries because we already forbid it. But Big Beverage really wants to make sure we can never tax them ever, which is why they're spending so much money on this Vote Yes campaign and pretending it's about affording groceries, which Washington already cannot tax. Did you catch that I just said Big Beverage is funding this campaign? That's right, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Keurig, and even Red Bull have spent more than $8 million on this campaign to make Washington think they're voting for affordable groceries. In case you were wondering, that's enough to give every person in Washington $1. Well, hey there, you look stupid. Can I buy your intelligence for $1 whole? $1? That's insulting. But I'll take it. Now, we definitely should have a deeper discussion about the negative impacts that sugary beverages have on our economy through healthcare. Dig Deep 2019 episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. But here's a summary. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the US, and diabetes is number 7. And who pays for that? The taxpayers, not Pepsi and Coke. 1634 wants to make sure that Pepsi and Coke will never pay for it, and we will. If you already think we should tax soda, your vote is an obvious no. Because if you vote yes, we can never tax soda. But even if you're unsure, you should probably vote no, and here is my reasoning. We already don't tax groceries, so voting yes or no changes nothing. We already have a sales tax, so if you vote yes or no, that also won't change because the bill excludes any broad taxes across the state, like a sales tax. 1634 is literally just about taxing soda. If you vote yes on 1634, the only thing that changes is cities and counties around the state can't decide to tax sugary beverages ever, unless we pass a measure to reverse this one. If you vote no on 1634, cities and counties would keep their ability to decide for themselves if they want to tax sugary beverages. I love the sweet smell of communities making decisions for themselves. If you didn't learn from all those movies growing up that corporations will destroy anything to make a profit, or you haven't heard the many ways that Pepsi and Coke have done that exact thing around the globe, remember that they spent $8 million on this campaign right now to trick us into thinking we're voting for affordable groceries, when we already have that law. But I was gonna give everyone $1, so F them and vote no on Measure 1634. And then we can have a discussion about whether or not we want to tax soda in a 2019 episode of Dig Deep with some experts. But at least we'll have the ability to decide for ourselves. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to tell your friends, because they need to vote too. Hit subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to watch this entire playlist for all of the election 2018 explainer videos. Then it's time to vote. Make sure you're registered, and then you can vote by mail, drop off, or in person. In order to find locations, deadlines, etc., you can go to vote.org or Google Vote Washington or Vote Oregon. Happy election season, y'all.